some of those? What are some of the other sort of tricks or hacks or tools that you can bring to bear to ensure that the knowledge, that what we learn about how we think, is meaningful in how we operate going forward, rather than just being something that we know? It becomes meaningful in the decisions we make and the lives we live.
Yeah. So let me just say a few things. One is, in all sorts of ways, knowing about a bias doesn't help. So I'll give you an example. Most people are familiar with the sunk cost bias, sunk cost fallacy. So that's just like, here's an example. This is actually out of my new book. I tell you, hey, there's this, Brian, what's your favorite band?
Let's just say U2.
Okay. There you go.
Christian rock band.
Don't ever drag me to a U2 concert, please.
Wow.
I'm joking. I mean, I'm joking, but also I don't like U2.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
Okay.
I'll be over at the Jack White concert and you'll be at the U2 concert. But anyway, so U2. Okay.
Enjoy.
So U2 is doing an outdoor concert. And I say to you, hey, do you want to go to this outdoor concert that U2 is doing? And you look up and the weather is going to be freezing cold and rainy. So you're going to go to this outdoor concert. You're going to be standing around in the freezing cold and rain to watch them. And under those circumstances, most people will say, I'll take a pass.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even though I'm offering it to you for free, I'm saying, oh, I got this extra ticket. Do you want to go? And you're like, no, it's going to be like 32 degrees and ice cold rain in the middle of June for some freak weather experience. I have no interest in standing around. I'll listen to the album. But now imagine that you bought a ticket that's non-refundable for $100. So it's non-refundable, right? Like you already bought the ticket and it's the exact same situation. And you have a choice about whether to go and stand in the cold and rain. And it's going to be gross and freezing to go watch U2. And pretty much 100% of the people are like, yeah, I'm obviously going to go. And you're like, okay, but you already have a stated preference that you don't want to go. And they said, but I don't want to lose the money in my ticket.
Right.
But okay, you already lost it. So that's like very simple sunk cost fallacy, right? So whatever your preference is, if you wouldn't go if it were free, you shouldn't go just because you have a non-refundable ticket. For
the record, I would have not gone and I would have eaten the $100.
Good.
Yeah. Yes.
Excellent work.
You were the guy offering the other guy the free ticket.
That's right.
I'm just sending it. I'm saying, Mike, I'm actually emailing you and saying, do you want my ticket?
Do you want to go?
Mike would totally go. Mike grew up on a farm, dude. Nothing wasted.
Yeah. Nothing.
So okay. But most people are going. But I can make it much less obvious, and I could say, well, it's just going to be like 58 degrees and kind of windy and yucky and whatever. Like that. But most people are going to go in that situation, and this obviously causes a whole lot of problems that have to do with projects that are going on too long, or like there's big public works projects where this becomes a problem because money's already been spent, and so they continue even though it's going poorly. And so this is what people tell me. This is like if I had a penny for every time someone has said this to me, I would be rich. Oh, I know about sunk cost and I actually don't do it. Why? Well, because this is what I do. When I'm approaching the decision, I say, if this were a new decision, would I make it? So you could imagine this with a stock, right? You're trying to decide whether to hold a position or not. And you say, well, if I had to buy this today, would I buy it? And so we think, oh, okay, I found a great hack. It will work. Just so you know, that works not at all, like zero. It has no effect. But the problem is that because we think we've discovered something, like, oh, I understand something about sunk costs. The error is that people treat decisions in which they already have resources sunk into it differently than new decisions. So I know that, and I'm a genius, and I've come up with this fresh way to deal with it, which is to imagine, if I were making the decision today, would I do it? And so they think that they fixed it and they haven't. And then that's a really bad combination, something that has remained unfixed, but that you have high confidence that you did fix. Okay, so this is just to say when we're in it, when we're in the moment of decision, we're really bad. So there's two ways that we can actually help this, because our intuitions around this stuff is so bad that if we know it, we'll fix it. One is to do it in advance. That's one way to do it. So I could say, what would the weather have to look like for me not to go to this U2 concert that I've just bought this ticket for? And I could figure that out. And then I could look at what is the day that the concert's going to occur? What is the probability that the weather will be below my benchmark? Right. And as long, am I willing to take that risk for this non-refundable $100 ticket? And then having written down, if it's below 52 degrees, I'm not standing out there. Right. Then you are actually more likely not to go. Right. Okay.
Now, do you need to write that down before you buy the ticket?
Yes. You have to do it before you enter into the decision.
Right.
Right. And that's true of anything, whether it's a project or whatever. This is, on Everest, they have turnaround times, right? Like, which just say if you're not to point A at this time, you got to turn around and go the other way. So these are things where you're just making the decision in advance, that this is the way. And this doesn't have to be just like, I'm not going to go. It could be, what are the circumstances under which I would continue? So like, for example, if you have a position, you can say, let me think, what are the things that would cause me to press? What are the things that would cause me to hold? What are the things that would cause me to actually take the position off or partially take it off? So these are all things that you can do in advance. So that's one way that you can solve for this. The other way you can solve for it is to get to the outside view, which is to say, find out what somebody else thinks without telling them what you think first, which is a little bit what we just did as an exercise, right? So this is one of the best. It does two things. It really helps to de-bias, but it also helps to reduce noise. When we say, let's all go write down, what do we think the answer is and why? And we have some structure to the why. And this could be true whether it's a hiring rubric, right? Where we're saying, here are our values. This is what we're trying to hire for. Let's all make a judgment about how good of a mentor is this person going to be? What is the quality of their coding? How good of a culture fit are they? Whatever, right? Everybody makes their subjective judgments, but it's structured in a way that we've decided in advance what the structure of that is. So now we're merging them. We decide in advance what the structure is, and then we all do it independently. And now all of a sudden you can get some of this really good debiasing. Now, what that means is that you have to get to that second order knowledge. I know about the biases. I know it's bad. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I know that's sitting on top of that is that I can't undo it by sheer force of will or some sort of Jedi mind trick. So therefore, I must set some things up in advance that will help me to do this. And I must put some structure to my choices. Now, notice, though, what's interesting is that all of that causes you to write stuff down, right? Automatically, you're keeping a record, whether it's the record of what we all thought about the necklace or the record of what my forecast was about when I would not go to the concert.
Okay.
All right, we're done. I solved everybody's problems.
Yeah, that's right. No, I mean,
except for the fact that you don't like U2, but we'll take that offline.
Brian is still reeling from that. I'm with Brian. I love U2, man.
I know. You know what? I'm not a stadium rock person. That's all.